Welcome back to the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden and I'll be your host again this evening. We have a special guest from, actually there's a golf tournament, and it's the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. To my left we have Dennis Tiricani. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And he is the service officer of the DAV Hardware City Chapter 8. To his left we have Dennis Buden. He's the founder and tournament director of the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open. And to his left, we have Chris Trazik. I knew I was going to do that.
That's okay. I said I answered either.
Yet, was I close?
You were.
There, the second time I was on. Vice President from Farmington Bank, Community Development. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about the golf tournament this evening. Why don't we start by just introducing yourselves? A little brief history. Do you want to go first, Dennis?
Sure. I'm Dennis Tiricani, Service Officer, Disabled American Veterans Chapter 8, which is New Britain, Connecticut. I'm a Vietnam War veteran, United States Marine Corps, served 1968 to 1970. And I get involved in most veterans groups in the New Britain area. I'll stop there.
Oh, that's good. Dennis.
Hi, Chuck. Thanks for having us first. Dennis Buden, as Chuck mentioned, founder and tournament director of the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open. Now, I'm a New Britain native. We founded this tournament 5 years ago. We're going to have our sixth event this year. And what Dennis and Chris probably won't say when they're introducing themselves is that these folks are key to the success of our event and raising money for veterans causes here in Central Connecticut. The event is hosted by DAV Chapter 8, and of course it's presented by Farmington Bank. They're our lead sponsor for the event, and we're very appreciative of their support and what we can do for veterans through this event.
Nice. Chris.
Hi, how are you?
You notice I didn't try that last time again.
I know, that's okay. I answered it just Chris. So I am the Community Development Manager at Farmington Bank, and I also run the Farmington Bank Community Foundation. So I wear more than one hat. Under Community Development, I work with the bank to make sure that we meet the Community Reinvestment Act, which means if we take money out of the community, we have an obligation to put money back into the community. And with the foundation, we support nonprofit organizations that are providing services to the residents in the communities where the bank does business.
Nice. Well, so, I got to thank you too, from all of us here at the Veterans Corner and all the viewers. Thank you very much for everything you do to help the veterans community. And obviously, Dennis, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Very appreciative, by all of us. Let's start talking about the tournament. Dennis, tell us a little about the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open and how this great event came about.
Well, it's really kind of an interesting story, Chuck, because what this tournament has grown into, it's going into its sixth year now, is really quite far beyond any ideas we had when we started it. It started as a very conservative family event, just family and friends, and not even really with a charity component, to tell you the truth. But we had such a good time playing golf and getting together. It seemed to make sense to us to do something for the community. And I also am involved, even though I'm not a veteran, with some veterans organizations and social organizations in the New Britain area. And so I do know a lot of veterans like Dennis, who I've become friendly with. And it just seemed to me that that veterans causes was the type of thing that we would like to support with this event. In its first year, we raised $200. The next year, $4,000. Last year, we raised $10,000, and over the last 3 years, we've raised $24,000 for great organizations like House of Heroes Connecticut, Friends of Fisher House, and of course for the DAV itself, which does great work for veterans. So it's really, this year we expect more than 140 golfers at Tunx's Plantation on Thursday, October 2nd. And with great sponsors like Farmington Bank and others, Stanley Black & Decker, AT&T, Connecticut, and others, we're really making a go of this, and we're hoping to take this to another level in the coming years.
That's great. I mean, you've talked. I was going to ask you about some of the causes that you support, and you went over. Actually, you talked about that already. You want to add to that at all? In any of the other causes?
Well, I do think it's important, for people to understand, more than just the names of the organizations that we support. It's important to understand the work that they do. Now, for example, House of Heroes Connecticut is just an outstanding organization. They're based out of Georgia. It's a national group, but the Connecticut group is very, very active.
Bill May.
With Bill May, of course, yes, and I think Bill's been a guest on your show.
He was actually the very first guest on this show.
Oh, no kidding.
Really?
Back in June.
Yeah.
He was the very first one.
Bill and his organization do great work, and they every year on Memorial Day weekend, and right here in the New Britain area, actually, they'll be doing work on veterans' homes. Last year we did 5 veterans' homes in the New Britain area. We're going to do 4 or 5 this year, and the funds that we raise through the Golden Kielbasa go directly to that organization. And the good thing about it is that that organization has the ability to multiply the monies that we put in through in-kind donations and so forth. So even with a $3,000 or $4,000 donation, they can turn that into home repairs for a deserving veteran, maybe valued at $10,000 or $15,000. Now, of course, Friends of Fisher House, I think that folks are very familiar with the Ronald McDonald House in Rhode Island, which is a place where families of children who are laid up or are ill can stay for free of charge. Well, the Fisher House organization does the same thing for veterans. They have more than 60 homes throughout the country. Fisher House does. They are usually adjacent to VA hospitals and VA centers throughout the country. And Friends of Fisher House Connecticut is trying to build is in the midst of a multi-million-dollar campaign to build a similar facility right here in Connecticut, the first one ever in Connecticut, next door to the VA facility in West Haven. So we're very proud to raise money for that organization.
There's a lot of events that statewide that are involved in trying to get that project completed.
Constantly raising funds, because this is no small chunk of change that they need to raise to make this happen. So I do know that they have a Dancing with the Heroes event coming up in September, which is a terrific event. I encourage people to look into that. And the Golden Kielbasa is just one small piece of the puzzle to make that project happen.
Dennis, you should talk a little bit about how you managed to leverage the money that the Golden Kielbasa raised with the Catalyst Fund that the Greater New Britain Community Foundation Fund has.
Interestingly, a couple years ago, the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain, which of course serves the same communities in the region where we're trying to do work for veterans through the Golden Kielbasa, they chose to do a grant for veterans, for a veterans cause. And because I'm familiar with the organization, I was able to work with them with the DAV, and they ended up making a grant to House of Heroes Connecticut. We complemented that grant with the monies raised by the Golden Kielbasa through the DAV, and they ended up, and really it's what made all the work happen with the veterans homes last year on Memorial Day weekend, the 5 veterans homes in the Greater New Britain area through that grant. So I think the community partnerships like that, the partnership with Farmington Bank, the partnership with other sponsors, with other community organizations, people coming together, working together can really make great things happen, I think.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork. You have to have teamwork. Dennis.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the mission that the DAV has in this event? I know you guys are the main contributor. Is that what it is?
They're the main host.
We're the host. We do some coordinating with with Dennis, with the golf course, trying to get more golfers involved, try to make the community aware of what we're doing, and then with the proceeds from this, we get involved. House of Heroes, Fisher House. There are many other programs we also got involved with, such as Purple Heart Homes. We're going to do Wreaths Across America this year. We're going to do that in December in New Britain, Fairview Cemetery, the military section. We're hoping to get enough money to put a wreath on each veteran's gravesite. So that's our big goal this year, besides, of course, the Golden Kielbasa. The DAV, we're nationally known for giving transportation to needy veterans that need to go to a doctor at the VA that don't have transportation, who might be incapacitated because they're amputees or whatever. but the DAV nationally has done that. In our local, we contribute to all of that. The state of Connecticut DAV has at least 8 vehicles, vans that transport the veterans to the VA hospitals, Newington, West Haven, etc. So we get involved. There's many things we try to do. I like the saying, vets helping vets.
Yes.
So,
You know, it's that leads on to the next question is, you know, how do you see this event perhaps being a model for other veterans organizations making a bigger impact in their communities?
I like to think we do a good job, and of course we do. Dennis does a great job helping us, or us helping them. It's a teamwork thing. As being a model, I don't know. There are other veteran organizations that do golf tournaments, and they do raise money for their causes. But there's many ways to raise funds. We were talking earlier about dancing with heroes, and that's for the Fisher House. And I think that's a great idea.
September 13th of this year, 2014.
So,
Yeah, my sense of it is that you know, we've developed a great relationship with the DAV, the local chapter in New Britain. You know, we couldn't do it without their help. Okay, and this happens to be a golf event. Okay, golf events aren't the only way to raise money or to make an impact in your community. I think that this is really symbolic of more than a golf event or a fundraiser. It's symbolic of disparate interests and groups coming together for a common cause and working hard to make it happen. So I think that that's really the example that the DAV, you know, as a veterans organization, as a tournament organizer, that we hope to be setting, and as a representative of the corporate community that Chris and Farmington Bank are representing, that we've all come together to work on behalf of veterans, and we certainly know that veterans causes are important.
And I think one of the key factors with the Golden Kielbasa is Dennis does a great job of bringing to the public's attention veterans causes and some of the great organizations that are in the state that people may not know about. So he really is an advocate and kind of a media specialist in making people aware of what those causes are. So a lot of golf tournaments, because there are a lot of them, you know, you go and you're supporting a particular cause, and all the money raised usually goes to support a specific nonprofit organization. The Golden Kielbasa is a little different in that it really every year chooses another veterans cause to support, and at the same time is raising public awareness about some of those organizations and some of the needs that the veterans have. So it's really a double whammy.
Yeah. It's amazing where you started from and where you are now.
Oh yeah. I think one of the great things that we've done, and Chris mentioned about raising awareness, and certainly you want to raise dollars for veterans causes, and that's what our primary role is here. But to best do that by raising awareness, that brings people to the table, either as golfers or supporters or sponsors or donors or volunteers. And one of the things we do each year is we honor a local veteran at our event. Now, most golf tournament fundraisers do a wonderful job raising funds for whatever their particular cause is. I like to think that ours is a little bit different in that, in addition to having a golf tournament wherein we raise funds through the golfers and their participation, we honor a local veteran, which draws media interest. Last year, we honored Connie Napier of New Britain. Now, Connie Napier, everyone's heard of the Tuskegee Airmen, you know, that the famous African-American bomber group from World War II. Well, Connie Napier is 90 plus years old, lives in New Britain, and he was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen. So of course, everyone wanted to take part and took interest when we had the opportunity to honor him at our event last year. We had a wonderful ceremony, and what it did was it raised awareness. We got terrific media coverage of our event. We had the front page of the New Britain Herald, and people see this stuff and they say, you know what, this is a wonderful event and I want to be part of it in the future.
You know, Chris, you know, it's no event like this can actually succeed without corporate help.
That's true.
It certainly helps. I'm not saying it can't, but it certainly helps. Tell us a little bit about Farmington Bank and what they're doing and why you're supporting this.
when it comes to sponsorship, I mean, banks do support events in the community because we are part of the community. So we have sponsorship dollars, which are really to support events, and then we have our charitable giving. So we really have two arms, shall we say, that we do. In this case, really one of the reasons is it's raising awareness around a cause and a population in our community that I think has been ignored for a fair number of years, and I think we need to raise some of the awareness around this. And the other is, in this particular case, we get great publicity.
Yes.
You know, it's also part of it. I mean, you want your dollar so that there's some brand recognition. We support causes that are good for the community. We understand that our customers really have causes that are near and dear to their hearts, and we want to support our customers and we want to support the community. This is a great way to do it. People get out and have some fun, and at the same time are supporting some great organizations. So it's something we like to do.
I mean, especially dealing with veterans.
Right.
I mean, that's near and dear to many, many hearts.
There are.
You know, Chuck, following up on what Chris had to say, and you know, when you asked the question, it really is true that you can't do this without corporate support. You know, I will say Farmington Bank has been involved with this event for, well, this is going to be its third year now.
Right.
Okay. And as our presenting sponsor, which is sort of our title sponsor, so to speak, and they have now made a 3-year commitment to this tournament. So this year, the following year, and the year afterward. And, you know, that goes to show the commitment they have to the veterans community, I think. And not only does it do that for the veterans community, but for our event, it gives us the financial security and the credibility to go out to other sponsors and say, hey, look, you know, this is a good event. We raise money for great causes. It's run right. It's a terrific event. It's a great day out. And with Farmington Bank in the lead for the next 3 years, you know, I'd like to think that other sponsors will recognize the opportunity as well and come to the fore on behalf of Central Connecticut veterans.
It really didn't take a lot of thinking on our part to say, yes, we wanted to be part of this.
It was, I mean, and we thank you. We thank you very much.
More than welcome.
You know, and what you had just said kind of leads us into, Chris, what would you say to the fellow members of the business community about the importance of giving back and the opportunity that cause-related events like the Golden Kielbasa?
I think it's really important.
Represents.
You can't be a successful business in any community unless you are part of that community. And in order to be part of that community, it means you have to participate. So it's participating with monetary support. It may be participating with employee support. For example, this coming Saturday, we have a team of 30 employees that are going to be doing Rebuilding Together in New Britain. So we're working on that. We're reading at home school. So we have a really active employee group. I mean, throughout the bank, who are serving on boards of nonprofits, who are volunteering at their local PTA, they're volunteering with organizations. I serve on the Women's Institute of Housing and Economic Development that just finished Victory Gardens, if you're familiar with Victory Gardens. Yeah. So I think we all find ways to support our communities and give back to the community. And John Patrick, who is the bank president and CEO, is a huge supporter of that and encourages employees always to be part of the community and to give back. So it's just, it's good business sense.
As a Vietnam War veteran, I'd like to say that we appreciate seeing the sponsorships from the community, the business community, and everyone, because when we came home, we were not recognized. And now we're feeling that, and we're feeling better about being a war veteran, feeling better about being a veteran, just, and seeing how this, it touches us.
A lot of lessons were learned from that era.
I think so.
As you can see from now.
Right.
Dennis, finally, I mean, why don't you fill us in again about what's going on with the event
Okay.
where it is,
Sure.
how folks can get involved.
Well, certainly we'd love people to sign up and register. We'd love sponsors to come on board. We always could use volunteers and so forth. If people are interested in learning more, there's a website that they can visit.
I believe we had that on the.
Okay, so I certainly encourage people. It's www.goldenkielbasa.org. I encourage people to check it out. And you know, not only is there information on the tournament there, but there's information on our causes, a lot more detail about House of Heroes, Fisher House, and the DAV and the great work that they do.
Networking with each other.
Exactly, exactly. And you can register for the tournament on the site. Registration's available even as we speak, even though the event's 5 or 6 months away. So you know, we like to get an early start. We like to build the awareness, as we've talked about. And you know, it's not only about a successful event, but it's about raising awareness for veterans.
Yeah, I know we're flashing we were flashing the website.
Okay, great.
On there. We've got about 2 minutes left.
I'll do it.
It goes by. Anything else you might want to add?
Well,
about a minute, and then.
Well, you know, one thing that I mentioned that we do honor a veteran every year.
Yeah.
Okay, we like to honor a veteran, someone who's served with distinction, served our country with distinction, and perhaps may even now be very active in their community, doing good things for veterans and/or other causes.
Yeah.
We have not selected a veteran that we'll honor for our 2014 events, and if any of your viewers are interested in going to the website or contacting me, the information is there, and making a suggestion, we'd certainly welcome that. We'd like it to be someone from the Greater New Britain area.
Yeah. It's also available to them to get in touch with you is our email address, and I would obviously obviously forward the email to you. That's about all the time we have. We've got about a minute left, and at the close of every show, we like to sponsor. We like to highlight our sponsors. It's been a rough one, and tonight we want to highlight the Creed Law Firm. Kevin Creed over on 99 North Street in Bristol. He's one of the sponsors of this show. Without him and all the sponsors, we wouldn't have this show brought to you. So once again, thank you to the Creed Law Firm. Actually, incidentally, he's the one that's in.
And I was going to say,
he's been on the show.
He heads up Friends of Fisher House. So yeah, terrific guy and a terrific cause.
Yeah. So thanks to Kevin Creed and the Creed Law Firm for everything they do for this show. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'd like to thank our guests here. And incidentally, what I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, this is a two-part series. So stay tuned next week. We'll be continuing this conversation. So I'm Chuck Wooden with the Veterans Corner. Thank you and good night. We'll continue.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And you're right, it always goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and stay. So we are. It's still going.
That's great.
I'll be your host again tonight. We're here, part two, for a two-part series. We've been talking about, actually, if you tuned in last week, we were talking about the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open, the golf tournament, which is held in October. With us today, we have Dennis Buden. Dennis is the founder and tournament director. We have Chris Trozic, Vice President of Farmington Bank, Community Development. And we have Dennis Tiricani.
Very good.
Tiricani. I'm always really good with names, but I got it this time. He's a service officer for the DAV Hardware City, Chapter 8. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
It was great to have you here last week, and it's equally as great to have you here this week. And I'm sure we're going to have a great show. We'll start talking more about the golf tournament, and I guess I'll start off with Dennis.
Sure.
As a Vietnam veteran and a local DAV officer, tell us about the challenges you see that the veterans right here in our community face every day.
I'm sure there are many challenges, but a few come to mind. What's always bothered me is when one is in the military and there's a disability and they leave the military and there's no way that they can have an income because they lost a leg, an arm, or both, or whatever. And they have to apply to the VA for benefits and compensation, and it's a long process. There should be no reason that there's a delay there. It should be seamless. I know they've talked about doing that. I know they're working on it, but it still hasn't happened, and that there's no reason for that not to happen. Another thing that I think they need to do a lot more research and more care is identifying PTSD and TBI, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Too many people have it and don't want to admit to it, don't seek help, and sometimes they get in trouble with it. I think the military has to do more to screen or identify and help these people that are coming back from war to readjust. Too many of the veterans served 5-6 deployments. Yeah. I did one tour, it was 12 months, that was plenty for me. But some of these guys, 5-6 tours, it's too much. Yeah. So I think that has to be addressed.
And as we were discussing before we went on air, is you're dealing with veterans, and it's a proud group.
Right.
Yes.
And they don't always want to, it's a sign of weakness if they have to go out and seek help. We've had plenty of shows on the subject, and that's one of the reasons why we've had this show. To try to get awareness out there on issues like PTSD and other issues that that our veterans nowadays are facing.
Yes. Another area I think that needs to be addressed is jobs. The veteran has a much higher unemployment rate than any other group of citizens. And I think many employers don't realize that the vets, because of their military experience, do have a lot of discipline and do have a direction, and that could only help them on the job. I think too many employers, and I might be thinking back to my Vietnam era, but they didn't want to go near the veterans because they're afraid of maybe PTSD or other issues that the veteran might have. But I think if you look through the statistics, most vets are very good employees. Reliable,
yes, disciplined. You don't have a lot of the issues that you have with other employees. For the most part, it's just those right there: reliability and discipline. I know we touched on last week. We talked about how the veterans were treated when they came back in the Vietnam era. There has been a change in recent years, or decade, and how the public at large treats our veterans. And it's been a change for the better. I think it has, obviously. You just turn the TV on.
Without a doubt.
We went to a groundbreaking ceremony down in Middletown last week for the Trees of Honor, which we had them on the show, and one of the Vietnam veterans had stood up and commented on it, thanking all the veterans, from recent and past conflicts, and they are being treated better. Tell us the changes that you've seen and why those changes are so important.
Well, I think you hit on just about most of it, but when you look at when we came home in the Vietnam era, government didn't really want to know us and society didn't want to know us, and it was, I felt like the veteran was blamed for the war instead of the government or the policymakers, whoever it was, but it wasn't the veterans. We don't see that today at all.
No.
People welcome the veteran today. Even today, well, in recent years, I have people thank me individually for my service. I didn't get that 40 years ago. I didn't get that 20 years ago. But maybe in the past 15 years, 10 years, I've gotten that. So.
Yeah. It's amazing. I'll tell you a real quick story. I was walking out to I pulled into a gas station, and this was in the Bristol area, and went inside the store to pay for the gas, prepay. And as I came out, I was about ready to start pumping gas. A young kid, he had to be 16, 17. He was behind me. He paid for his gas. He came out. He walked over to me. He shook my hand. He saw the veteran plate, and it kind of catches you off guard.
Right.
Isn't that great?
Because you're not used to that. And I thanked him very much. And it was. I drove away feeling pretty good. There's still,
as you should.
Yeah. For someone of that age group, which maybe I shouldn't say you wouldn't expect it, but I didn't. But it was nice. So there has been a lot of changes. Dennis, we talking about helping veterans. Tell us, why as a non-veteran you have taken up the cause?
Such as myself.
Yeah, you've taken up the cause through this event, and what your work symbolizes for others like you who are non-veterans.
Well, I think my involvement with this particular event, which raises funds for Central Connecticut veterans, I think is really symbolic of the sea change that you folks have been talking about with the public's attitudes towards veterans and appreciating their service to the country. I'm a non-veteran. I know that I personally am extremely grateful for the service of guys like Dennis and yourself and so many others. Through this event, we're in our 6th year now. I've come to meet some of the finest people that I've ever known and come to work with. Loyal, hardworking, disciplined people who are patriots, proud of their service to the country. And the guys with the DAV Chapter 8, they bend over backwards to do anything to help me make this tournament a success. And some of my finest friends now are veterans. My dad, I've always had a great appreciation, but not so much until recent years when I've been involved with this work, where my eyes have really been opened to the kind of people that America's veterans are, and what they mean to this country and what they can do for this country. And my dad was a World War II veteran. I had an uncle who was a paratrooper in World War II. I did not serve myself, and I think that at this time of my life, I have an opportunity here to do something for these people, and very proud to do so.
There's the organizations, DAV, VFW, American Legion. We all have our auxiliaries, and they play an extremely important role in supporting the veterans in those organizations. And it's a commitment that they have for us. And
absolutely,
it's deeply, it's an understatement when I say deeply appreciated, by the veterans.
We honor a veteran every year at our event, and it's a busy day. After golf, we have our ceremony, and we play the national anthem. And I see all the veterans. Well, everyone's standing there with their hands across their heart, but you notice the veterans in particular, with the tear in their eye. And I get a knot in my stomach, when I hear the national anthem in that environment on a day when we're honoring veterans and raising dollars for veterans. It's really very, very special.
You know, I can speak for the Bristol area, the Mum Festival. Large parade. I've had the honor and the privilege of being in it with the Legion in Bristol for the last 3 years, I think it's been. And there's most of the 3+ mile route, I think it is in some areas 10 deep.
Yeah.
And as you're going down, you know, we're all in our Legion caps on, and you can see the veterans. You know, they stand up when the flag comes by. And you can tell who the veterans are. And we usually, you know, pop them a salute as we're going.
Sure.
You know, Chris, Farmington Bank is obviously a major contributor. We've talked about that in last week's show. What is Farmington Bank's philosophy in regards to serving the veterans, the veteran community, and why is it important, and how do you hope to further serve veterans in the future?
Ooh, big question.
Yeah,
It's twofold. Veterans are our customers. They are members of the 22 communities that we do business in. And it's really important to make sure that we provide either support to organizations who are providing services to veterans, or that we ourselves are providing services that veterans can use. We are getting ready to roll out the VA mortgage, which we're very proud of and very happy to do. It's a great opportunity for veterans to be able to acquire a house as they go forward. We're looking at, you know, some other product opportunities, probably too soon to talk about at this point, but
don't want to let secrets out.
yeah, not supposed to do that. But you know, the bank itself, because we are really strong members of the community, we have the Farmington Bank Community Foundation. We support a lot of organizations that really are out there doing great work. We were talking earlier before we started taping tonight about the Oasis, which is a veteran support center at Tunxus Community College, which we support. It's a great organization. It's a great place for veterans to come. I don't think people always realize, I mean, Dennis, you alluded to it, when veterans come back, sometimes they don't always quite know how to get back into everyday life and the everyday stream. So I think a place like the Oasis allows them to gradually make that transition without it being, readjust and not be so jarring. But we're also supporting organizations that are really trying to help veterans find jobs. You know, there's been some great initiatives with the television networks, CPTV, and doing some training programs, who are trying to partner with some businesses in being able to provide them training and then hopefully land them some jobs. So those are all things that are really important, because you really do have to provide some of those services. You were talking earlier about sometimes veterans are a little too proud to admit that they may need help. So if you're providing support to an organization who's out doing the services, whether it's mental health services or job training services or financial coaching even, it's a way to also provide that support that they may not even realize they need or they're too proud to ask for.
Yeah, and Chuck, you know, echoing what Chris said, I mean, I think, at least with regard to the Golden Kielbasa Veterans Open, and we alluded to this earlier, you know, we're all in this together, you know, helping veterans. And, you know, the fact of the matter is you need the corporate community to support organizations that help veterans, to support events that help veterans, like our event. And the more that companies like Farmington Bank can be involved in their community and reaching out either financially or through programs and partnerships, you know, the better off the veterans community will be.
I mean, one of the nice things about the partnership with the Golden Kielbasa is it's really for Farmington Bank identified some organizations that we weren't necessarily aware of. That's out providing services that now, as the director of the foundation and the community development person, I want to find out more about and find out if there are ways that Farmington Bank can partner with them. There may be opportunities for some of our employees to become volunteers with these organizations. There may be an opportunity for us to do financial coaching. We have employees, we have a whole financial ed team that's out there doing classes. We have a couple of certified mentors who really do one-on-one financial coaching. So it's a way for us to provide those services and give back, and it's a great way to identify new partnership opportunities.
You know, just listening to you, you know you're going to be back here. You know you're going to be back.
I'll be more than happy to come back, believe me.
That would actually be a great show.
Yeah.
It really would, because one of the things that our goal was, our mission, when we started this, all of us, I mean, we're all veterans. We wanted to do pretty much what you guys were saying, get the word out, bring the awareness. You know, this right here is a great vehicle to get the word out. And we've had a lot of organizations. If you touch the veterans community in any way, we want you on here. And I'm in contact, or trying to get in contact. You're Purple Heart Homes, they'll be on here, and some of the organizations you talked about have already been here.
One of our past beneficiaries.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, this right here with Nutmeg TV, I mean, it reaches potentially 80,000 homes. You know, the 8 communities in Nutmeg, the Nutmeg area, and obviously it's AT&T Uverse. If you have that, every corner of the state, you can watch this at 7 o'clock on Thursday evenings. Every Thursday.
Well, while we have this chance, Chuck, you know, I would just like to thank you again for allowing us the privilege of being on the show here, and to talk about our event and some of the things that we're interested in doing for veterans. You know, we're happy to be part of the solution.
And it's great to have you here. I mean, this is what you guys, you know, you're here helping us. You're helping yourselves, getting the word out. We're helping you get the word out and bringing the awareness. And it's a great thing. And we're getting better at it. The first few shows, I'm sure, you know, none of us were aspiring, you know, anchor people or whatever on TV, but we certainly have come a long ways, and it makes us feel good when we have somebody come up to us out in the public saying, you know, I've watched your show. And not just in the Bristol area, but when you go outside the Bristol area, it's, you know, it makes you feel good.
You know,
we're going to continue to do this for a while.
Chuck, if I may, you know, this might be a nice opportunity if we still have a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got about 5 minutes.
For you know, speaking of, you know, the DAV is the host of our event. Farmington Bank is our presenting sponsor, but you know, one of the and of course the causes that our event supports directly are Friends of Fisher House, Connecticut, and the House of Heroes. In addition to the DAV itself, and through the monies that the DAV has raised from the Golden Kielbasa last year, they started a second fundraising effort for a program called Wreaths Across America. And Dennis is very much involved in this, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Dennis?
Wreaths Across America is it started in Arlington National Cemetery. A company, a Worcester wreath company in Maine, had extra wreaths, and the owner would drive down to Arlington since 1992 and put wreaths on the grave sites. 2005, some photographer took pictures of it, put it on the internet, and went viral. And since then, it's grown to over 500 sites in the United States. It's even gone overseas. I've seen it. I've read about it. I think it's a great idea. It's a way of bringing awareness to the veterans of today and the veterans of the past. And it's a way of honoring those that have deceased, whether it was in combat or not. But that's a way of honoring our veterans. And the holiday season, put a wreath on there. December 13th, noon, Fairview Cemetery, military section. We will have a ceremony, and hopefully we raise enough money to put a wreath on each gravesite. There's over 600 gravesites in that area. So
now, when did you say that event is again?
December 13th,
December 13th.
noon. And we're hoping to get all the veterans groups in New Britain and the local area to get involved. And hopefully we can raise enough money. It's $15 a wreath, and it's it's on the Golden Kielbasa website also. So.
Yeah, Chuck, if any of your viewers are interested in supporting this or supporting our event, you know, we encourage them to visit our website. There's more information about Wreaths Across America, and there's, of course, information about our event.
Flashing it on the screen.
There you
now.
go. There you go.
And there's information about the organizations that are
And
supported.
the Fisher House,
Right.
Friends of Fisher House, and House of Heroes Connecticut as well. So,
You know, and I do think one of the nice things about the tournament, besides raising the awareness and the organizations, is it's an opportunity for people to come and celebrate.
it is. It's true.
You know, with family and friends, and say thank you to veterans. I do know, I mean, at this tournament, there's as big a crowd for the dinner afterwards
Yes,
for
bigger.
people who don't even play golf as there is playing golf, because people really want to come and they want to say thank you. They want to be part of the
wanna
recognition of the
contribute.
veteran, and they really want to contribute. It's a great community event for that reason.
A lot of people don't golf, and that's their way of helping out.
Right.
Absolutely.
One other organization that we do contribute to, and I want to mention this because we're hoping to expand on it this year, is the Marine Corps Family Foundation.
Sure.
Marjorie Hackett in New Britain, Connecticut has done so much to help Marines overseas that don't have the opportunity to go to a PX or get many personal hygiene items. And she sends out thousands of pounds every holiday season. And we've donated to her in the past few years, but hopefully this year we'll make a much bigger contribution.
Thank you. I now have the next holiday drive for the Farmington Bank employees.
There you go.
There you go. Well, once again, I mean, I just got the signal. We got a minute left.
Well, let me just make this presentation to you, Chuck. The show wouldn't be complete if I didn't give you an official Golden Kielbasa cap. So that's for you, Chuck.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Really, thank you.
Thank you for being here, and once again, thank you for the cap. At the end of every show, we try to there we go. Sorry about that. We try to highlight one of our sponsors, and tonight we're gonna highlight Pam Shea. Pamela Shea is an individual donor, and once again, without our sponsors, we wouldn't have this show to bring to you. And thank you to Pam, and once again, thanks to all our other sponsors, which we have highlighted in the past, and we're going to continue to highlight. So, I guess that's all the time we have. I want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We had a great two-part
pleasure,
series
Chuck.
here.
Thank you.
I
pleasure.
hope the viewers.
Thank you.
I mean, this was a great series. At this time, I'd just like to say thank you to the viewers for watching. My name is Chuck Wooden, and you're watching the Veterans Corner. Good night, and thank you. Still rolling. So, still rolling. So once again,
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks
23
very much.
minutes went by really, really fast.
I think we
And you
filled
were
that.
worried about filling
I
the
think we
time
filled that a
we
little
did.
easier than I thought. See that?
I spoke more too.
You